The subject of my talk is a concept called resource libraries. Now, in the Zeitgeist Movement, there are two areas of particular interest that we like to think creatively about, which are the concepts of society and economics. We think that these two areas are of great importance to the creativity and sustainability of our culture. On a broad level, the Zeitgeist Movement is a large global network comprised of millions of socially conscious individuals. We have over 1,000 chapters in 70 countries, and we research and present new ideas to the public. We've also been on news channels, and we present lectures and documentaries and media festivals that are focused towards creative change for society. What I'm going to attempt to do is to put forward to you a new way of looking at economics, surely the most boring subject that one can study. Although economics is based on difficult mathematics, ideologies and policies, I'm going to present to you a new economic model that would be incredibly simple to operate, something that has been termed a resource library. I've broken this down into different sections. Number one, purchasing versus access. In today's money system, we need to work in order to earn private banknotes, which we then use to purchase goods and services. We sell our time, i.e. our labour, for money. Let's think about the communities in which we live. Every community is comprised of a number of households. What does every household contain? Well, yeah, I mean, it contains a lot of stuff and goods, resources, and often this stuff is barely used and sometimes no longer used at all. We could, if we wanted to, deposit all of the goods that currently fill our homes into a local library for goods and services. Whenever you want a good, you could go and take it out of your library and use for as long as you want for free. And when you're done, you take it back to the library again. This saves you from having to buy, store and maintain the goods that you use every day, or even on a weekly basis. It also means that we don't need to make one of everything for everyone, which is environmentally impossible, by the way. This building, this library, would have an open source legal framework, meaning that everyone on the contract has free access to the building. It wouldn't be owned by anyone as such. If a good is scarce, we can make a copy of it so that there's always enough of everything to go around. A library system would be the most efficient use of the resources of this planet, an intelligent management of the Earth's resources, if you will. These library systems would include food and water provision using advanced technologies, such as skyscraper farms and hydroponics for food, water capture technologies for water provision, and 3D printers to create general goods in order to maintain what is described as access abundance. Even our cars could be added to this library system. You don't need to own your own car, you just need to access a car when you require it. What about our homes? How about if we create an abundance of housing and include those in the library system? If you want to live somewhere and it's vacant, you can, and stay there for as long as you want. It will then be registered as engaged on the database system. If you ever want to move on, the house would then become vacant for others to use. You can still settle down and live in the same house forever if you want to. Debt-free, mortgage-free, bill-free, because we can get all of our energy needs provided to us using green energies for free. What about services? Well, we currently receive services from people in our local community. Now, if these people had access to these library systems too, they would no longer require a day job and could, instead, provide their services to the community for free. However, this would be based on incentive. Do they have an incentive to help others in our community? Well, science suggests that humans have an intrinsic incentive to help others, because it improves our own society. Where resources are scarce, we can set up a global transport system based on moving these things from country to country to where they are needed around the world. Supply will meet demand through intrinsic incentive. We value helping others around the world. Again, for those elements that cannot be automated yet, we can put a call out for local volunteers, perhaps working 5 or 10 hours a week. The education system would be designed to support this new value system. What about greed and freeloaders? This is again depending on our values. And so science suggests that once people have the security to be able to access what they need, they will no longer be greedy, because greed is always generated out of fear. Humans are not inherently greedy. We are conditioned that way by society and by scarcity. When we help others, we improve our community. We like to help others. We humans are just like that. Of course, we would also look to use machines to automate this system to save us from doing boring jobs. Remember, this is about freeing people from repetitive and boring labour. As these libraries develop over time, community trust will increase and people will begin to deposit scarcer and more valuable items. These library systems will be incredibly good community spaces where people get together to share what they have, not only to improve society, but for environmental well-being too. As time goes by, these resource libraries will begin to acquire more advanced technology, especially tech that has open source legal frameworks. This means that legally, these technologies will be available for anyone to create and use without any intellectual property rights to hold us back. As mentioned, one example of this includes 3D printers, where people can produce goods inside the library itself. Even the raw resources of the earth can be added to these library systems. This means that the local communities will have access to the raw resources they need and the means of production in which to create what they need for free. For food and water provision, hydroponics and water purification technologies can be directly engineered into the system. Energy technologies such as solar, wind and geothermal can be engineered directly into our buildings and environment to turn our living spaces into our own green power plants. These library systems can also provide generic pharmaceuticals, toiletries, anything you can think of. No longer would we need to ship all of the goods and services around the world. Everything, and I mean everything, can be created locally. In terms of management, if enough members get involved in each community, every member would likely only need to, say, work a 4 or 5 hour stint, say, every 3 weeks. Imagine that. You no longer need to work a 40 or 50 hour week to obtain private banknotes with which to purchase goods and services. Instead, you would have access to the necessities of life for free, producing what you want whenever you want it for free. No job, no work, no savings of money, no debt, no bills. This model requires an intelligent management for its operation. This management would utilize the methods of science in accordance to the value qualifiers of human and environmental concern with zero monetary economic policies required. This would mean that we arrive at decisions through research and physical reference rather than politics. It simply will no longer be necessary. In this system then, community members would have access to what they need, with all the resources available for them to work on all the creative, social and environmental projects that they have an interest in, for free. Again, it's based on intrinsic incentive. We don't need money to incentivize us. People would naturally have an incentive to keep the library functioning because they value it, and that's the feedback loop between the people and their libraries. Think about it. If you have a library where you can get access to everything you need, you're going to make sure it's running okay. What about local versus global? Now here's why this system would be so smart. Every community would have its own local database for all the goods and services it holds. We would also be able to track resources so we would know exactly what we have at any one time and where it is. And every local community would also have its own website to upload its database. And all the databases of all the libraries in the world would be hooked up together to create a single global resource goods and services database for all humanity. Anyone can put a demand in for any good or services they need at any one time. And by using algorithms and the methods of science, coupled with holistic human and environmental values, we will be able to arrive at how best and most efficiently to create these goods and services according to human and environmental concern. Thus, a global resource-based economy would be born. No money, no forced employment, no debt, just access, abundance, and environmental sustainability. Imagine the community spirit, the connectedness to each and every single member of your society, as we all work together to further improve the system, to make it better, more efficient, more comprehensive, with the most cutting-edge technologies available, and all of this for free. When all of these databases around the world are hooked up together, we will know exactly what we have at the global level, where it all is and where the supply falls short of demand. Demand can be tracked through demand logging, for example. You would go to your local resource library website and find the product you want and input your request for that good. It would tell you instantly whether there is one available or where the nearest one is located. And we can use tracking systems to find out where your good is at any one time. Goods can be transported from community to community through distribution systems, including through the mail or in-person pickup. The receiver will receive an email from the library to confirm receipt, and the database is then updated. Everyone will also have access to the database, meaning that they can update from home. Thus, the library system is both centralized and distributed. Once we recognize that our well-being is dependent on everyone else's well-being, we would do all we can to provide other parts of the world with what they need, so that they no longer need to suffer in order to get just the bare necessities. War would basically be obsolete. And with new technologies coming out that can provide artificial materials using common resources like sand, even the scarcity of rare earth minerals can be resolved. As the raw resources of this planet and the goods, services and means of production become available through access, the global resource-based economy would be born. This is simply an intelligent management of the Earth's resources. It's an idea that will generate great communities. We'll be able to know our neighbours, and people will feel empowered to be able to do the things they want with nothing holding them back. Making art, gardening, going to space. Anything's possible. The result? The net result of this transition into a resource-based economy would be that every single human being on Earth would have access to the necessities of life for free and fully supported to achieve whatever their dreams may be. It is only then that human creativity will truly flourish on this planet, such as the works of art we see today. Thank you.